Well, howdy gang, Pastor Durb here. Just got off work on this Friday. I'd say it's a beautiful day, but it's raining. Figure what we're gonna cover today. I think I'm gonna do a top 10 list. My top 10 pick of the best albums to come out of the Seattle quote-unquote grunge scene of the late 80s, early 90s. I hate the term grunge, but it is what it is, so I'm not going to put in other Seattle bands and artists like Queensryche, Metal Church, Sanctuary, Heart, Jimi Hendrix, stuff like that. This is just the grunge movement, so to speak. And I'm not including other so-called grunge artists that aren't from Seattle, like Stone Temple Pilots, Bush or whoever. So we're just sticking with the Seattle people. And I was from Spokane, so it was an exciting time in the early 90s in Spokane because we kind of got a trickle-down effect, over the mountains from Seattle there. Those bands came over and played and stuff, and you're gonna have some bands on this list maybe you haven't heard of, or you have heard of but haven't listened to. So I'm also only gonna put one album per artist on there. Like everybody who knows me knows, Alice in Chains is one of my favorite bands in the entire world. I could put all their albums at the top, but I'm not. And I'm not including new releases from these artists. I'm just focusing on that little period there from about probably 89 to right around 95, I think. I don't know, I'm not just going through the years in my head there, so bear with me here. I'm trying to drive at the same time. So anywho, so I'm gonna count down from 10 to 1, and after number 2 I'll do a few honorable mentions, and in the honorable mentions I will do a second album from a couple of these artists, as well as some artists who didn't make the top 10. So starting off at number 10. Now I'm doing this, I came up with this in my head, I don't have it written down, so bear with me here. But number 10, we're coming in with Candlebox, their first album, self-titled. Candlebox to me really isn't that much of a quote-unquote grunge band. I mean, they came out in the later part of the big movement, and I'd say they're more of a straight-ahead, just a good hard rock band. But because they came out at the same time, kind of, and a lot of their songs, the majority of the songs on that first album, great dynamics. So you got kind of mellower stuff kicking in with some heavy shit, and so it's still kind of falls in there. So we'll put it in there, number 10, and it really is a good album. I think Candlebox got a lot of shit, but that first album is a classic. Gotta give it that. So coming in at number 9, we go with Temple of the Dog. That one-off supergroup project with, what would become Pearl Jam, because you got Mike McCready, Stone Gossard, Jeff Ament, and Matt Cameron on drums from Soundgarden, as well as Chris Cornell on vocals. So just a fantastic album, really, really good album. I was really hoping they get together and do another one, because it is a phenomenal album, man. Say Hello to Heaven's got to be one of the greatest songs ever written, to me anyway. I mean, it's a masterpiece, a work of art. So again, I'm doing this by memory here. So coming in at number 8, this is where I'm probably going to get lynched. Nevermind by Nirvana. Now, again, anybody who knows me knows I'm not a big Nirvana fan. I like Nirvana a lot, and I won't deny that Nevermind is a great album. I won't deny that Kurt Cobain was a great songwriter, But to me, they're my least favorite of the big 4 from that time. But Nevermind's still a great album, man. There's some great songs on there. I've never really liked Smells Like Teen Spirit, so that didn't really, set the tone for me very well. But the rest of the album, fantastic, especially Something in the Way. I love that song. On a Plane, Lounge Act, shit like that. Not the hits. I like the hits too, outside of Teen Spirit, but it's the ones that didn't make the hits, man. That's fucking good shit. I really liked the video for In Bloom. I thought that's one of my favorite videos ever too. But big Dave Grohl fan. Chris Novoselic's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. So again, I like Nirvana a lot, so please don't hate me. This is just my opinion, so feel free to post your list as well. So let's see, that was what? Number 8. So coming at number 7. I'm excited about this one. The self-titled album by Sweetwater. So Sweetwater came out, well, I mean, they came out in the early 90s, but their first major label album was the self-titled Sweetwater album. Came out in 93. And I remember hearing the first single off that, Everything Will Be Alright, on the rock radio station at the time. Sorry, there's a cop right there. Hopefully he didn't see me. But anyway, I had just moved to Spokane in 93. Wasn't quite 21 yet. A couple months of living there, I turned 21, and the very first show I got to go see was Sweetwater at one of the clubs called Outback Jack's there. So that was a really good time, really good show, man. Adam Chisler's hell of a front man. Hope I'm saying his last name right. It's CZ, so I'm Chisler. That's what I'm thinking. Anywho, but he dressed the part, he looked the part, man. He was, as far as a rock and roll front man, not like a grunge type guy, but he was more of a Mick Jagger kind of a guy on stage. I think he had some brown corduroy pants, bell bottoms, this cool button-up shirt, sunglasses. He was a cool looking dude, man. Hell of a fucking singer too. Great vocals. That Sweetwater album, oh man, just what a great album. Head Down is a killer song. All of them, man. Can't Say No. Like a Child. God, I could go on. The entire album's good. King of 79. Doobie in his wallet waits for the Fog Hat show. He's gonna go. Fucking good shit. If I was a girl, I'd have a crush on him in his high-rise jeans. I recommend you get that album. Okay, so what was that? That was number 7. So we're gonna do number 6 now, and I'll probably get lynched for this one too, but number 6 is Pearl Jam. 10. Okay. Pearl Jam, kind of like Nirvana for me, is where I kind of thought they were overrated. It's like everybody talked about Nirvana and Pearl Jam. To me, it was Alice in Chains and Soundgarden. But 10 was one of those Planets Align albums. I think it's an amazing album. Outside of Jeremy, I never really liked that song. For whatever reason, I don't know. But, man, it was such an exciting time when these albums were coming out, man. And everybody was breaking because, I don't know, exciting time to be alive. But 10, top to bottom, man. But to me, it's again, first thing I heard off there was Alive. You know, that was the first single. I saw the video on MTV's Buzz clip. Good shit, man. Just really got into them. Pretty much wore that tape out. But to me, it's my favorite song on there was always Garden. I think that's a great song. And Release, Oceans. Those are my favorite 3 songs, you know, not hits. So, and then there were some great songs I recorded from those sessions as well that didn't make the album, most of which are on Lost Dogs, that compilation of rare tracks or whatever. So I just put them all on my 10 playlist there. So it's at like 20 fucking songs or something. It's good shit. Like Stay at 11 Trust and Breath and a Whisper, just Breath if you get it from the single soundtrack. But you know, Wash was a great song. Fucking Alone. Anyway, I could fucking trail off there. Hey, something shiny. All right, what was that? Number 6. Okay, so let me think really hard, because when I came up with it in my head, it was from 1 to 10. I'm counting backwards, so 1, 2, 3, 4. God, I can't remember. Oh, yeah. Number 5. Sorry. Another one-off project, supergroup, Mad Season, Above. What an amazing album, man. I didn't know what to expect first time I heard it. You know, I'd heard River of Deceit, and I had heard I Don't Know Anything, because I didn't get it after River of Deceit right away. I wanted to, but when I heard I Don't Know Anything, at first I thought it was a new Alice in Chains song, because that's a Lane Staley riff and not a McCready riff. But when I got that fucking album, man, it kicks off with Wake Up. We had huge speakers in the house I was living in, and man, that was fucking, that bass at the beginning of that, just incredible. Lane's vocals on that album, you know, it's kind of like a Pink Floyd goes grunge. It's the great sonic stuff going on, a lot of great sounds, it's mellow, and it's just something you want to just, you know, smoke a doober and just kick back in the middle of the night and turn that fucker on and just space out. Just incredible album. Barrett Martin on drums, what a fucking stud. Does some killer drum fills in that album, and of course, you know, Mark Lanigan, one of my favorite singers of all time, also makes a guest appearance on a couple tracks on that album. Long Gone Day, great song. Okay, so that was what? That was number 5. Now we're getting into the good stuff, let me tell you. So coming in at number 4, one of the best albums, not only come out of Seattle, one of the best albums come out of anywhere as far as I'm fucking concerned, and that's Screaming Trees, Sweet Oblivion. I don't know what happened between Uncle Anesthesia and Sweet Oblivion, but it's like the planets aligned, and these guys wrote some amazing songs on this album. There's not a bad song on this album. They all kick ass top to bottom. Mark Lanigan's vocals, man, amazing on this. And fucking just badass. The shadow of the season with high reason to carry on. Fucking just a great album, man. Love that. And I don't know if any of you remember, right before that came out, they were like this background band on these MTV commercials with Dennis Leary. That was kind of cool. So anyway, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Sweet Oblivion. If you don't have it, go get it, pussy. Anyway, top 3. Here we go. Number 3, Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger. Now, a lot of you are probably like, Soundgarden, it should be super unknown. No. Louder Than Love was the first album I heard from them. That's what got me into them. That was the first quote-unquote grunge Seattle sound album I ever got. Got it in 1990. And fucking love those guys, man. But when I heard Bad Motorfinger, there's just all of a sudden it got heavier and darker, and I was just like, wow, what a great album. Chris Cornell's vocals, man. Slaves and Bulldozers. If you just had that song on there, still a fucking amazing album. But man, just like the first 3, Rusty Cage is one of the coolest things I've ever heard. Just the weird time signatures and the weird tunings these guys do just to keep things interesting. Then it goes into Outshined, you know, which has kind of a real Sabbathy feel. Always loved that song. And then into Slaves and Bulldozers, and all of it's good, man. All of it's good. But man, those first 3, I mean, I'm doubled over because I feel like I just got fucking kicked in the nuts 3 times in a row right there. Damn good album. Damn good album. So, top 2. I think, let me see, maybe I'll do my honorable mentions here instead of after number 2, because I'm going to let you guys kind of guess what the top 2 would be here. So, some honorable mentions. We'll do this now. You're probably thinking, hey Durb, you stupid son of a bitch, how can you do a top 10 Seattle grunge list without Mudhoney? Kind of giving away that Mudhoney's not in the top 2. Sorry. I love Mudhoney. I love Mark Arm. I think Mudhoney is one of the biggest underrated bands in history. And so just don't think their albums are good enough to be in the top 10, but you can definitely see how they influenced Nirvana in there and the Seattle sound in general, because these guys were doing it before most of the other bands were. So as an honorable mention, I have to put their first one, Superfuzz, Big Muff, on the Sub Pop label. Good stuff. Like I said, love Mudhoney, don't get me wrong. I have their albums. But just have to put them as honorable mention. I feel kind of bad. Anywho, another one that didn't make the list, but I absolutely love, that's Grunge Truck. So I'm going to give an honorable mention to their second album, Push. I really like their first album as well, Inside Yours. Great stuff, man. If you guys haven't checked out Grunge Truck, please do. Their frontman, Ben McMillan, he passed away a few years back too. Another casualty of the Seattle scene. Used to be a singer in an older Seattle band called Skin Yard, and they were kind of like one of the first that were on the scene playing what we would now describe as grunge. Skin Yard had some great albums, man. But Grunge Truck was it, man. I got to see them in like 93 or 94 in Spokane as well. Put on a great show. Ben McMillan was a stud, man. So if you get a chance, check out Grunge Truck and you haven't, please do. Let me see what other honorable mentions we got here. I'm going to mention a couple from bands that are already on there. Like, well, Alice in Chains, obviously. Facelift. So, Louder Than Love was the first album I got from, like I said, from the Seattle grunge movement, but Facelift was what really sucked me in. When I saw the Man in the Box video, I was like, who the fuck are these guys? Then I bought the Facelift cassette and wore the fuck out of that thing, man. What a great album. Still, to me, you know, it's right up there. But I gotta go with another album of theirs, Head of Facelift, barely. So yeah, Facelift, kick ass. Gotta see. I saw Alice in Chains lots of times, but I saw them open the Clash of the Titans in Spokane, and you know, Man in the Box was huge at that point. But you can tell they had just recorded the video for Sea of Sorrow, because in the Sea of Sorrow video, Laney cut his dreads off, and he had short hair except for a few little braids hanging down right there. And when we were standing in line outside the Coliseum in Spokane, fucking Lane Staley and Sean Kinney went by. I think Lane was on a skateboard, but I'm like, I had to do a double take. I didn't talk to him or anything, because I was like, I think that was Lane Staley, but I couldn't tell because I was used to see him in dreads, big long fucking dreads and shit. So anywho, man, I love Alice in Chains. Jerry Cantrell, my favorite songwriter of all time, next to Steve Harris. So that's how much I like him. So anyway, more honorable mentions. I'll give an honorable mention to 2 additional Soundgarden albums, Super Unknown and Louder Than Love. Louder Than Love just because that's how I got into those guys, and Super Unknown because it's pretty damn close to Bad Motorfinger. It is obviously their most popular album, but you know, if I ever hear Black Hole Sun again, somebody shoot me. It was a great song. It's just been overplayed to death. But the rest of that album, man, there's some really good shit on there. Like the title track, Let Me Drown, you know, Limo. Is it Limo Wreck? Fresh Tendrils, 4th of July. I just love the fucking heavy down-tune stuff they were doing on there as well. Fell on Black Days, always been a cool song, My Wave. Great shit, you know. Louder Than Love, that's amazing stuff on there. I've got an idea of something we can do with a gun. Full on Kev's mom. Good shit on that too. So anyway, honorable mentions all the way around there. One band I'll give an honorable mention to. I don't really consider them grunge, but they kind of came out at the same time, and I really like these guys. I'd like to give an honorable mention to the band 11. I know they were kind of from Seattle, but not really from Seattle, more from Los Angeles, I think. But Alan Johannes, you know, was really good friends with all those Seattle guys, and I think they spent quite a bit of time up there, if I'm not mistaken. You know, Natasha Schneider, she was amazing. You know, sad that she passed away from cancer and stuff. But that self-titled 11 album, man, I saw 11 open for Soundgarden, and it was pretty fucking sweet. So yeah, So I think that's gonna have to do it for honorable mentions, man. And you're thinking, why didn't I give an honorable mention to In Utero? You know, I didn't think In Utero was that good of an album. It's got some good stuff on there, but all in all, as an album, I didn't think it was that good. Not even close to Nevermind. Did see him on the In Utero tour, though. I mean, you know, Nirvana's a great band, put on a great show. So I hate to sound like I'm ripping on Nirvana, but, you know, I just didn't think In Utero was that good of an album. I like, you know, Dumb. There's like 2 or 3 songs I really like on there. The rest I could give 2 shits about. But yeah, Nevermind was amazing. But whatever. Bleach was a really good album too. Just the recording quality on that one wasn't as good, but had some really good stuff on there. So I'd take Bleach before I would In Utero. But anywho, neither here nor there. So I think that pretty much covers it. What's gonna happen is I'll be done with this fucking video, and I'll edit it and post it and put it up, and then I'll remember to add something too. So make sure you check the comments, because I'll put something in the comment if I forgot something. So let's move along. Number 2. Fuck, man. Can you imagine what would have been if Andrew Wood would have not died? Because I'm gonna have to go with Mother Love Bone, Apple. What an amazing, God, you can hear what Stone and Jeff were doing with their songwriting, and how that would lead to Pearl Jam. Just something like Bone China, that riff, you can totally picture on Pearl Jam 10. You know, some great stuff. This is Shangri-La. But Andrew Wood's songs, those are fucking just move me, man. Especially his piano ones. Man of Golden Words. You know, Crown of Thorns. And all kinds of great stuff on that, man. It's just an amazing album. And like I said, who knows what could have been, but we would have never had Pearl Jam 10. So, yeah, both are good stuff, but Apple, to me, amazing. And obviously that leaves number 1, and y'all know what's going to be number 1. That's Alice in Chains' Dirt. I don't think you can find a better album to come out of Seattle. Even outside the grunge movement, with maybe the exception of Operation Mindcrime from Queensryche. But Dirt, hands down, man, top to bottom, perfect album for me. Some of the stuff's been overplayed where, you know, I'll still listen to them, but something like Rooster, I don't care if I ever hear again. Whereas something like Wood, been overplayed, but I still love, you know, Them Bones, fucking incredible, heavy. It's really heavy, really dark album. Really influenced me big time. Just God, amazing. I got nothing else to say about it except for fucking amazing. So anyway, thanks for bearing with me on this. I just made it to my location. And please feel free to add your list in the comments. I'd love to know what you guys think. Please don't be rude to me. Be nice. Because this is, like I said, just my opinion. I'm not I think I'm an expert, but I know we all have different opinions. So, anywho, stay safe out there. Peace out.